All right, we're back here, Fairview on Sports. A little short break we had going, but here to deliver episode 7.
7. We are on 7.
First
Yep.
one of 2019.
2019, holiday break. Feels good to get back in the swing of things. Keep this show rolling here. A lot going on over the New Year, Christmas break. A lot of football.
Yes.
A lot of action dwindling down to the final Elite Eight we got going here. So we'll get into that. We also got Yankees making moves on the reliever front and still circling Machado. So, as we kind of wait for that to be finalized, that situation one way or another, that's going to kind of alter the course of the season and see what their approach looks like going into 2019. And in the college game, obviously, just had the national championship last night. So, a lot of exciting pros you're getting a future look at. This is a lot going on. NBA, obviously, the season's starting to heat up.
Yep.
So, this is, we're kind of crossing that mecca right now of January and February as we get to that pinnacle for the NFL in the postseason. But I guess we'll start things off with the NFL last week. A lot of crazy matchups. We could do some deep dives into some evaluations on that, what our input is.
Yeah, so the first game of the weekend was Indianapolis, Houston, Houston. And I'd say the Colts beat them up pretty good from the start, Just seemed like there was never a momentum swing that Texans needed. I feel like their home crowd is terrible. I remember watching a game, I think it was right before Christmas, whatever that weekend was where all those games were. And, their crowd is like non-existent. And they couldn't get them involved in it. It was just a really bad performance. Hopkins, I'm a little disappointed with him. Didn't show up on the big stage.
That whole offense, man, it was rough.
Watson apparently lost his first game by 2 scores since high school or whatever crazy stat.
I did see that. That was pretty incredible. Yeah, man, they got dominated in the trenches by that Colts O-line.
That line is special, man.
That is an incredible job by the Colts front office doing such a complete 180 from last year. You go from probably the top 5 worst offensive lines last year and in recent memory, and that's completely transformed. That Quentin Nelson kid is just incredible. Dude's a specimen. So
yeah, he is. He had that one highlight when he just tossed that dude that he wasn't even covering.
Yeah, I saw it.
That was look crazy.
He's incredible, and he shut down Clowney the whole day. So that was
They're scary going into Kansas City. I mean, you could see there's some respect here. The spread's 5.5. Kansas City's favored 5.5 at home. You would have thought this matchup they would get a full touchdown or something, but Indy's scary right now.
Yeah,
Andrew Luck's playing out of his mind.
And that spread also shows you that, right? It's not just like previous Colts teams where it is Luck kind of delivering a pretty, otherwise terrible squad solely on his back and his play. I mean, he's playing out of his mind, but like the entire team, that O-line, Darius Leonard on defense, who's really, risen to become a star himself.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're seeing those complementary pieces, T.Y. Hilton, Eric Ebron. I mean,
T.Y.
there's so much gelling that has occurred, and it is, it's scary. They're a scary team, and especially with Luck at the helm. So if you're Kansas City, I mean, that spread says it all. It's going to be a dogfight, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting less points than Dallas is in LA. That's a 7-point game. So that's a little surprising, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
you think that's a good spread, 7 for that game, Dallas?
Yeah, I mean that's probably speaking to just the kind of the reset mindset in the playoffs where just every game seems to be close.
Chargers in New England is kind of right where I thought it would be at 4. I was saying like 4.5 or so.
4,
so
okay.
That's about right.
Yeah, and I think that shows kind of the the gap between the Patriots and everyone else really closing, and how much respect they're
Last
getting in the
week-
postseason.
What did you think of Cowboys Seahawks? That was the second game.
Yeah, that game went exactly as I thought it would go. Anytime you get the Seahawks, especially the kind of rejuvenalized year they had, their defense played pretty well. I think the same problems that came to bite their offense the entire season, kind of sprung up again, and it's just really hard for Wilson to make plays when that O-line is horrific. They kind of struggled running the ball early on, and you're kind of living by the situational electric play by Wilson, and that's fine when that's just there as kind of another play in his arsenal, but they live too much off that, and I think Cowboys did a really good job of keeping it close. Their defense played well too. They showed up, and Dak made that big run in the fourth quarter to kind of seal it. That was another game that kind of kicked off the playoffs with defensive efforts.
Yeah, the whole year the offense. Now all of a sudden the defenses are showing up when it matters most. That's usually how it always goes.
It's pretty good though. You like to see that, You
Yeah.
get a little sick of the rinky-dink offenses. So it's nice to see a little refreshing.
It seems like that Amari Cooper signing was massive. The Seahawks just don't have enough. They had some big plays out of their receivers, but it's like, I don't know, their offense doesn't seem like complete enough. Like when you have a star back, you seem like you get more production on the ground, because the Seahawks ran the ball more yards per game, I think, than the rest of the league.
Right.
They
did throughout the regular season, right?
And I know the Cowboys defense is really good, but they really struggled. Like no one was getting it going. Carson, any other backs.
Yeah, they were.
They like to switch
bouncing
their
in and out
backs
between
around.
Penny and Davis.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they go to Penny and it's like, I don't know, man. They just couldn't get it going. Van Der Esch and what's the other linebacker's name? Smith.
Yeah.
And then they got Lee.
Yep.
He was in there a bit. Those guys were.
They
look great. I honestly think that that's a big spread. Too big of a spread for 7.
I
thought they would get the 4.5 or 5.5 respect.
I think it's just speaking to kind of the dominance of the Rams in the regular season, but it's some might be surprised that it's not the other way, that because of their dominance and because of the firepower they have on offense, that it's not larger. So I think there is respect there for the Cowboys, but I don't think 7 is totally kind of disrespectful. I think they're on the road. They're walking into team coming fresh off the bye, and I think that's kind of fair where that's set at. But Cowboys are scary. I give Jason Garrett a lot of credit mid-season, kind of switching things around and believing in his staff. No major changes really, and that Amari Cooper trade did wonders for them. So.
Come in here, BWalsh.
What's up?
Enjoying the party, bro.
What's going on, Fairview?
And we got BWalsh coming in.
You guys picked the Rams to take that spread?
Well, right now we're going over the games from last week, so we already talked about the first two on Saturday night.
I think I fell asleep through both of those games.
Yeah, well, the second game was decent.
Towards the end of that Seattle one was pretty good.
No, I mean, it wasn't hard to fall asleep to.
Yeah, the first game was oof.
Yeah, that was a blowout too.
And then, starting with Sunday with
Sunday is where it picked up.
Yeah, that game was kind of dull because they couldn't get it going. The first game, Baltimore, San Diego, but it definitely started to get kind of interesting.
Dicey at the end. You're also kind of watching the drama show too to see if Flacco was going to come in. So it was.
How do you feel about that? Flacco not being in, not getting.
I thought it was a mistake. I mean, I get on one hand. So, the rationale behind that, what I'm hearing, is, they've made their organizational decision, the faith in Lamar, and that's their first-round guy, that's the future, and, live or die by Lamar. And I get that, but I also think for 3.5 quarters, you had someone who had 6 passing yards. Someone who couldn't operate the offense.
That is wild.
and you had a Super Bowl MVP sitting on the bench, and to not even really ever look like it was seriously contemplating to have Flacco come in. I don't know, man. I mean, I get that Lamar makes the comeback towards the end. And,
he kind of
made it interesting.
Sold it a little bit, the decision.
But also the Chargers at that point, they're not playing press coverage. They
gave them those
they think
yards.
the game is in the bag, and they probably let off the pedal a little bit.
Crabtree get behind. That was one mistake
Right.
they made.
Right.
The first one, yeah.
So there's definitely some gaffes on the defensive end, but listen, it happened. It clearly shows where they're at with Flacco, and
You could see the
You can't get out
struggles
there
for the
quick
first 3 quarters of just how he wasn't a developed enough passer. It was like very evident. Like you just like every time he dropped back, you're like he's going to one read and it wasn't happening. He was either getting sacked or
Yeah.
he wanted to run.
scrabbling.
Yeah, he's a good runner.
And that's the other thing too. When you have like
That's
that,
about it.
when you have like a gadget offense
Moving
like that,
forward,
like,
do you trust him though? Like as giving him the keys to your organization, someone that can't pass like that? I'm not convinced at all.
you got to see major improvement as a thrower.
I understand why you live and die by the guy who won you like 6 out of 7.
But I'm
It's
saying
just-
now that Flacco's gone,
Flacco's
Oh, that's
They're
it. Yeah, I mean he's
So they're-
live or die. They're locked in.
they're
now,
confident with him moving forward.
I
He
think
needs to develop.
You look at the quarterback class from last year. If you got to pick one who's maybe most likely to be a bust, I mean it's early and anything could happen. But I mean it looks so severe with his throwing mechanics. I don't know if that's correct.
He was just
I mean, I
missing
think
wide
he just-
open guys
yeah.
too. It was like kind of bad, and you could just tell he wasn't comfortable being like a quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not a pocket guy.
Yeah. So I mean they'll have to do some pretty strenuous work on that, but we'll see. I mean Harbaugh's a great coach, so is it possible to get it coached out? Yeah. I don't know. That's got to give you a little.
He was probably
hesitation as
surprised by the pressure that the Chargers are able to put on.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that
Chargers
guy
are
Ingram
great.
was in there.
Chargers are a great
quick.
team too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Beat up.
you guys are covered the Rams and
We're gonna
Bulls?
we're talk about
Oh.
our picks and stuff and go over this week's games. We were just kind of going over last week's games, so the only one that we didn't talk about yet was the last one, which was the craziest one. The Chicago Philly.
Yeah.
I had a feeling
Big
the
night.
day before, and like even though my pick, I still was going with Chicago. Like you just had that weird feeling about Nick Foles.
This is one magic carpet.
It's almost like you like right here. They're getting 8 this week against the Saints, but it's like I don't even know, man. I don't know. Could they cover? They probably could. Like
They go from 46 to 7 to turn that into a win. It's going to be unbelievable. Breeze is going to have to throw 2 picks.
right.
BDN's going to have 3 tides.
Yeah.
And 1 turnover at most.
But what if the whole team just plays different because of BDN being there? It seems like they just play
He
better. Like,
will.
what if they only give up like 28 points or something?
I think it's possible. Like it's also tough to beat a team twice. But just you have so much going for the Saints after the
That would
terrible
be
loss
such
last
a
year.
big
They're at home.
yeah. They blow this, they're looking terrible.
They look like the most complete team.
Yeah. That is.
I really hope the Phillies can pack everything up this week and go home.
Yeah, it's enough.
It's,
The
it's-
kick,
it's
that
gonna be
double
huge.
doink was enough. Okay,
It's
that's great.
just tired.
Which may have been
Let's not forget who had never won before ever. Like,
Right.
okay, you got it. You won. BDN's back. You ruined the Bears and their little run that they had. They'll be
Yeah,
good
everyone
next
was
year.
liking
That was another upset. I mean, we didn't even look at it from that perspective yet. But yeah,
Oh
the Bears,
my
you got to
God.
be sick. That defense was great all year.
Mitchell just like in the big spot there. Really, they didn't get enough points on the board, man.
No, he had
Right.
300
Yeah.
yards, but just not enough
Not enough.
sixes.
They got to.
They didn't get Tariq Cohen really any touches in that game.
Yeah,
So there was
right.
a lot of.
A lot of Benny Cunningham. Like, okay,
Yeah, a
coach,
lot of-
like, we get it.
Yeah.
He's on the team, but this is money time here.
Yeah.
Let's-
Cohen,
let's get the ball to our
went off
playmakers.
like constly all year, and then playoffs. Where the hell
I
is
don't know.
he?
Matt Nagy's fixing that kick. Just
Yeah, it was.
it's perfect.
it's,
Perfect.
that's sickening. Yeah, and sometimes you see these coaches, especially these first timers, and they get in the playoffs, and they almost act like deer in the headlights. Even more so than some rookies on the field. I mean, it's a polarizing.
To everyone's
you know-
defense, I mean, the kick was missed. If it goes to the uprights, they get the win, and everyone's happy
Right.
and stuff. So
Of
it
course.
is like a weird situation. But
Yeah, and I
they
heard some
should've
people
won.
coming down on the Bears D about how the D didn't show up. I
Yeah.
mean, they only allowed 16 points, and they allowed Foles to throw that touchdown on a fourth and 10 with a
In the
minute and
end,
change left.
yeah.
Like, I get that Mac didn't have the epic game, but I mean the defense. I mean, it showed up.
Solid,
It
solid,
had 16
yeah.
points in a
It
playoff
didn't-
game.
16's not enough. 16's not enough.
Whether the kick goes in or not, the Bears still didn't cover the spread, which is just showing of how they didn't play up to their potential.
Yeah, true.
It should have been way better than I think the spread was like, I think it was 6.5.
Mhm.
So they were supposed to beat them by a touchdown, and I thought that was a good line. I thought the Bears were going to show up.
Yeah, I thought that was.
Like a quick score, everything's firing. Cohen's ripping off 20-yard runs. Like, no. Except it's the other way around. Sproles is ripping off runs. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was a reverse the clock. So we'll see. Eagles got a big matchup next week, and we'll get to
I hope
those
they just get
momentarily.
straight
But
smoked.
I would love
That
to
would
see
just
that.
be incredible.
And on the other side of things, if Foles pulls out another victory and
Oh my
throws
god!
for
If he
400
gets
yards,
this win, it's.
you got a big decision on your hands then.
I feel like the decision's already big.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
He kind of deserves that job, honestly.
he deserves
I don't
definitely
know
a
what else
starting
would he
job.
would have to do to get the Eagles job.
You have to win the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, that's the goal.
I get, but even then, it's like this is a guy who's might even
You know-
retire. I mean, he might try to take a fat
He's
contract
not that
somewhere.
old though.
No, but he was
30.
he was contemplating
He
not
was.
playing.
Yeah, because no one wanted him.
Went back to Kansas City, sat on the bench.
Just
that
like
was
let,
really kinda where
letting
he
him
was
go, and if Wentz gets hurt again, you're gonna be sick.
You're gonna be
Yeah.
sick.
Nick back, you know. It's
You're gonna
like
be sick watching.
If only we had Nick.
if another team will give you a lot for Wentz. I mean, if Nick works in Philly, if you're getting first round picks back for Wentz, is it not a smart idea? At least one.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
yeah,
guy's got a
multiple.
busted
I mean, for,
knee.
Yeah,
for
multiple.
Wentz, I mean,
You
if
could probably get two.
if that's
considering
really the
that
structure going forward, and
Cooper's
Wentz really
first
is
one,
not.
right?
Dude, you got to look at Wentz's numbers. I mean, I didn't even realize it until I poured into them. Like, Wentz has been a great quarterback the last 2 years, minus the injuries. So,
Oh,
if he's
sure.
on the block, you're talking about 2 first rounders.
Yeah,
and,
for
and-
sure.
and
Like-
severe change on top of that. But
He's a beast.
that's about as good of a problem as you could have. Franchise quarterback,
Yeah.
your backup quarterback's a Super Bowl MVP. I mean, what else can you ask for?
I almost don't even know where I stand on that. If I would want, which one I would want.
That's a tough evaluation.
Foles just works there for some reason.
Him and Peterson.
Yeah,
just-
I mean, they have the momentum. They know they have the confidence that they can win at any time.
Yeah.
Scary.
There's no
Scary.
doubt in their mind. They know they have.
He also played crazy in that Super Bowl too. It wasn't like he just was a
Crazy.
game manager. His
Crazy.
stats were like just
400 plus yards.
Yeah,
3
Brady had
touchdowns.
like both of them went off.
Brady threw for 500 yards, and
Yeah.
that game was
Biggest
no
stage
defense.
football possible. He outdid Brady. If that doesn't deserve a job with that team, I really don't know what else are you searching for?
Tough argument, man. It really is a tough case.
It's interesting, man. It's just that Wentz is so young and promising.
Yeah.
Right, and he looked so good last year before the
He
injury.
is injury prone though.
I mean, he was
2
proud
years
of
in
the
a row,
MVP
He's
before
out
the
almost the
injury
whole
last
year, so he hasn't. I mean, he's half each year basically.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly, that's awesome for them. They get to kind of extend this.
The
that
double
run
doink
again.
was ridiculous.
Double doink.
The funny
Your
thing is,
favorite
I was
term?
in Applebee's.
Nice.
Dar got a gift card for Applebee's, so we went. It was a pretty. We had a good time because it was like we were watching the game, but like everything was pretty bad. It was a pretty
So
bad
wait,
experience.
this is actually hysterical because I got an Applebee's gift card like on Thanksgiving, and me and Caroline went, and it was the first time at Applebee's in a while. It was pretty terrible,
Oh,
even
it
for
was
free.
trash.
It
Doesn't
was
look as good as
awful.
the commercials.
Oh no, it was the first time there in about 5
We
years.
had a weird experience with our waitress. She was really wacky. Our appetizer didn't come out forever, and then she like realized and she like panicked, went and got it. It was like ice cold basically. And me and Dar are like shy when it comes to that stuff. So she's like, I'm gonna go argue with my manager. Do you want us to take it back? And we're like, no, it's fine. We're like eating these boneless wings, like cold and like rock hard. And I'm like, all right, maybe the entrees will be good. No, those were pretty bad too.
Oh, man.
Dar's Yingling was flat.
Oh.
For some reason I got a root beer. So I didn't get a beer, which is I
Was
was
the
like, I
root
want a
beer good?
soda.
Was the root
Yeah,
beer
it was a bottle.
carbonated?
It was a bottle of root
Yeah, you
beer.
can't F that up.
But
Yeah,
it wasn't that. It wasn't that cold. So they messed
See,
everything up.
In effect, you can't have it.
We got little Sundays, like mini Sundays at the end, and they're actually good.
You gotta like find someone who's willing to pay like $5 or $10 for like a $25 Applebee's gift card. Like, can I get $5? Oh, trade a 5 for 25, or just to give it away at that point.
Yeah, and
Just,
Applebee's
you know
money,
what?
that's like a
Yeah.
25 cents
Hard
a
lesson
dollar.
learned at the age now, 26.
Yeah.
Like, Applebee's.
And Chili's is a promising
think, yeah.
restaurant, a similar restaurant.
Better
I feel like
chain.
they're
Yeah,
owned
I'd
by
say
the
better
same-
chain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chili's is
I could do
a step up.
Chili's, but holy crap.
Applebee's is eating bad and then ain't right.
You see Nicky B on the wall.
Oh, he's still throwing
Yeah,
it.
he's still
Still
over there,
pitching
isn't
out
he?
there.
Throwing gas in the back by the bathroom.
Yeah.
Got South
got the
Bend in
major
back
cutout, right?
corner. Yeah, that place is so bad.
Yeah, Chili's is okay, but you also come out feeling like you just ate like a bucket of salt.
Yeah,
It is,
the chicken's like not real either. Like,
sodium.
those chicken fajitas, everyone gets them, but like it's like I don't know what the hell kind of chicken that is. Everything's like perfectly like doesn't. I don't buy it.
That probably didn't make your Bears-Eagles game experience any better.
No, but there's like 100 TVs there, and I'm looking up like as I'm eating these pebbles of boneless ribs or whatever they were, and I look up and the double doink happened. I'm just like, oh my god! And like there is like a bunch of Eagles fans on the bar level too.
The worst part is it
their
almost
TV
looked like
was
a doink
delayed
game.
too, so I already saw the double doink,
no.
and then out of nowhere they just all erupt.
Oh.
I was like, oh,
It was like a moment where you just weren't sure what happened. You saw
I
the
thought
ball
it
ricochet.
doink went in.
I thought it doink went in too.
Yeah. For sure, I thought it went in, and I was like, "Oh, the Bears won good. I really want them to win." And then no.
Yeah, that would have been better. It would have seemed like such a better matchup, Bears Saints. But any given Sunday now, the Eagles can win this game. Obviously, it hasn't been kicked off yet. The game is still there for the taking. I just think that the Saints will take care of business. But covering the spread by 8 could be a challenge against they're still the reigning champs, the Eagles, and they know that.
Yeah, I think the Eagles they're scary, but they're about to go home. It's fine.
It's plausible, and next week it'll kick off with Colts and Chiefs. So alluded to that last week, but that is a powerhouse matchup.
Awesome matchup. Two awesome quarterbacks.
Yeah. A lot of points going to be scored in that game. What's the over-under on that?
This doesn't have over-unders, but I'll pull that up real quick.
That's going to be 60 points probably. Something in that neighborhood. I mean,
we'd all love to see the Chiefs win. We love Patty to go on and Andy to, be able to hang his hat and some playoff wins, man. But I don't think them as a team, they're going to be able to withstand the whole Kareem Hunt debacle that happened so late in their season. That was such a star player for them, such a key role. And, you add that along with Andy's playoff mishaps in the past. I just see the first right going in there, and Andrew Luck is back. Don't forget who he is.
Killer. And the last time he faced Luck in the playoffs, I believe, was that mega comeback game when they were down like 28-3 or something crazy a few years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Colts won the game.
Incredible comeback, and it was like.
I think the Colts and Luck have their eyes on Foxborough, which I think ultimately could happen, but they got to take care of Andy first and the boys. It's tough to win an Arrowhead.
I like the boys.
Carl always says rule number 1: never bet against the boys. So
they can't do this again.
Take the Chiefs.
Andy Reid can't live with that on his conscience. He has to win.
I mean, listen. Here's the big difference this time.
That would be a one and done after this year. This is it. This is his year. This is Andy's year.
It was, but dude, the Kareem thing, man. It just
true.
Poor guy can't catch a break, man. He had everything going for him. He got rid of Alex. He knew what he had in Patty. And next thing you know, Kareem's kicking girls in the head.
Yeah, he was one of the more dynamic backs in the league. He was on the level of like everyone else, like Zeke and Saquon and shit like that. Maybe a little bit like not as big, but he was getting
their hat on this
guy.
guy.
Yeah, the over/under in this game is 57, so it's the highest one of the slate by 7 points.
Yeah, and it should be.
You're going over on that with the Colts.
My crazy spreads lately. I'll go over.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like over too because the Chiefs D hasn't been like super. It's kind of like how I feel like it could go like how the game went last night in the college, where it's just like the firepower is just like right out of the gate. Yeah. Like especially if the Luck scores first, and then Patty just responds, kind of thing.
Yeah, Patty can
this could be a tip for tat type game.
They'll both just be slinging. I can't wait for that game. That's the first game too.
Yeah. I mean,
is it Saturday evening?
Saturday 4
o'clock. 4:30.
Yeah, they keep giving Dallas. They're gonna give Dallas Saturday at 8 as much as they can.
Probably good conditions and seeing. I don't know, man. It's Patty's been incredible this year. That kid is incredible. With that home crowd, they're gonna be rocking there. I mean, they know this is. I mean, they might have made the playoffs a lot in recent years with Andy there, but. They know this is something special. This is different.
The Super Bowl is tough this year, man.
All
these teams are fighting hard.
Sure
These teams are scrapping, man.
Yeah, and it's a lot of offense too.
A lot of big offensive names.
Yeah.
Defense is control. The thing is, the Colts D has been fire lately.
Colts D has been great. That O-line,
that's
super physical. They're gonna win those matchups.
Yeah, rookie had most tackles in the league, didn't he?
I wonder how the Chiefs
Darius Leonard
D are gonna be against. If they're gonna be able to hold up against Love.
I hope they do, man. But
Luck looks determined.
Listen,
Luck
I feel
looks
like
serious.
the other thing too about that
Find
game is
T.Y.
like
open.
whoever wins, it's a good storyline. I mean, if Luck wins, you want to see him go deep. You want to see him get his revenge on the Patriots. You're rooting for that. He's a great guy. The NFL is so happy to have him back and healthy, back to MVP caliber.
Yeah, maybe it was really worth the time that he
100%.
took off.
And makes Josh Daniels look like the biggest jabroni ever to be that close to that job. Hire all his
Especially
assistants.
if the Patriots end up losing that game to Philly Ribs and
Yeah.
the Chargers. The Anthony Lynn's got those guys playing hard. This is their chance.
Yep.
This is the game they want.
This is honestly, I think it's a perfect time for the Patriots to fall apart right now. I think it's a perfect time for them to lose one at home.
I think they're
this
gonna
is,
have world
this is
of trouble with those Charger receivers because, dude, they got out of Baltimore, which I thought was gonna be the toughest test for them, and they just squeaked. They didn't just squeak out of it, but they didn't play. Like they couldn't get 7 points on any drive. They kept getting field goals. They're gonna be a nice breath of fresh air going against the Patriots defense. I think they're gonna eat.
Yeah, I think so
Keenan
too.
Allen's ready to eat.
Yeah.
He's gonna get some.
I think
It's a different
that Mike Williams 2-point conversion was kind of like that release, like that deep breath. Where they can kind of exhale for the Chargers. Like, all right, we can do this. You know, like we are capable of taking a team out on the road.
Or Melvin falling for that fourth down one was huge. Dude, that whole sequence, what was going
That was
on?
nuts.
Yeah.
I was driving me crazy, and the spot was like so horrendous on the one when they couldn't tell if it was a touchdown or not. So I'm like, if they can't decide if it's a touchdown or not, how does the spot go a full 3 feet back from the goal line? It should have been as close to the goal line as possible.
Yeah,
Right?
consistency.
Remember that?
Right,
It was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
like
My
what
dad was
how
on
the
at the
fuck?
TV for that one big
I
time.
couldn't understand the spot, man. I
I couldn't get. I don't think that was really talked about either on sports.
No, they just were like, he
Sports
didn't
media.
get in, but like, and then you look where they put the ball, and they're like, they put it a full yard, like on the hash. I'm like,
right.
I'm like, damn, dude.
Then the next down,
then-
he like fumbled all the
Yeah,
way in.
third
Weddle
down.
had actually touched his ankle, so he was down.
That'll fucking save that. If that was a touchback to Baltimore,
They were winning the game, yeah.
100%. But then they get that, and then they punch
And
it on
Melvin
fourth
punches it
down
untouched,
convincingly.
essentially, yeah. That was a big
That
call
was
by
the play.
coach.
That was the play, and then the 2-point conversion followed it.
Huge.
Yeah, then Mike Williams he was wide open, and then they were looking at him. And then the Ravens sent somebody over to him. They did a little cross play, and it was reminiscent of when Mike Williams. Shout out Money.
Yeah, right.
When Mike Williams was wide open in the end zone like he was a couple weeks ago in one of those games.
Yeah.
Against the Chiefs, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was when he went off against the Chiefs when Keenan Allen was hurt.
That was
Right. Shout out
big
to
day
Jack.
for
Big Jackson did
Jackson.
start.
Daily
Nice
plug
big
and play in the
start.
flex for
Nice
Bird.
daily
That was,
start right there.
Gave Tits a one for the
That
money,
was,
right?
Yeah, because we had Keenan, so of course that was a terrible day. But
Classic Thursday night flop. Yeah, listen, that I think this is the most vulnerable you're going to see the Patriots, other than just the complete and total end of the era when Brady finally hangs them up. So Chargers have as good a chance as they ever had, or any team has ever had in the playoffs, going up to Foxborough and taking out the Patriots.
Yeah, I think they were talking like a game a bunch of years back that this game already happened. The Chargers went into New England, and obviously New England won. So Pip's trying to get some revenge here too.
Yeah.
I hope
But
he gets it.
listen, too,
would you be surprised if they get just
Not at all, and that's the other thing too. I'm hearing
Patriots, when the machine
you're
comes
hearing-
out, like they unveil it in the playoffs, it's just like every single
Listen,
play. is
you're hearing
15-yard
so many
pass.
people talk about the
And
demise.
it's just
and
kind of just blow
would
right
not
through
be
the
shocked.
Chargers.
Edelman, Hogan.
business
Yeah,
as usual.
just
Do
hate
your job.
But Josh Gordon is gone, which could be
That
hurts their
It's
offense.
an
They just
underutilized
roll
storyline.
Cordell Patterson, and the guy just fucking gets production out. Yeah, like it's just gonna happen.
It's mentally pleasing to think, especially after Alabama lost last night, and you're like, a big unbeatable Titan goes down, so it's possible the Patriots could lose. You want to see Pip Rivers go in and see some different faces, but like you said, once the machine gets unveiled, these guys all just rested for a full week. Brady and Bill are going to come out. They can just, next thing you know, they're up 21-0 again, 21-3 against the Chargers, and guess who gets the ball at halftime? Bill. And then we're going to have 28-3, and we're talking about next week.
Chargers defense is pretty legit, so we could rely on that for being like a staple to keep them not to like go over 30 points or 35 points, which would be where they need to.
That's where they need to hold them. Yeah,
sure. Anything over that, they're screwed.
You had a spread on that game there?
That game, the spread is 4 points, so I think that's pretty fair. That makes it harder to pick. My guess was 4.5. That 0.5 scares me a little. I'm gonna still take the Chargers on that.
Yeah.
So I'm going with the Chiefs so far at 5.5, and then the Chargers as the dogs. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah,
James,
I think that's pretty logical.
What pick do you have in the first game, Vinny? At a 5.5.
For Chiefs and Colts.
Yeah, 5.5.
And yeah, I mean, I think so 5.5 for the Chiefs, right?
Yep. They're giving
Yeah,
5.5. They're the favorites there.
That's I think
Obviously.
that's pretty easy there.
You're going
Yeah.
Chiefs.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Chiefs with that one too.
And then the Chargers, you said it was 4.5.
4, just 4
4.
even.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, they have a tendency to play these games really close. The Patriots do, and obviously you don't need to reflect too far back on history to see all the games won by field goals. Gostkowski and Vinatieri. So, yeah, I think 4 is that's another number I'd be comfortable at. For the Chargers.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm gonna take the Chargers there +4.
Yeah.
And then we actually skipped over the Saturday night game, which is actually
It's a big one.
pretty cool. I like that game.
Listen, they're all big. I mean, that's the other thing too. This year, I mean, listen, they're incredible every year, but this year there is that quarterback draw in almost every single game.
These games are fun, man. I'm liking all
This is a good
4.
one.
is
That's the
incredible.
Dallas Rams one?
Dallas Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
I'm
man.
liking watching Dallas right now. They look like a well-oiled machine, dude. I mean, they didn't put up crazy points, but like when you get production out of Cooper, Dak, and Zeke, it's like it's exactly what they wanted. I think it's only going to keep getting better week by week.
Yeah.
I love them at +7. I'm taking that.
Oh, I love that too.
100%.
100%.
Because if the Rams win, I think the Cowboys will still cover that. I think the Cowboys are going to win. I really do.
Yeah, and the Cowboys also too in the playoffs when they've made it here in recent memory, and like they've also in games where you've expected them to get blown out or just flat out lose. I mean, they've made it really interesting. And I think back to
They're
like,
going
the
to
Green
compete.
Bay
That
game.
defense is good, and
Yeah.
their offense, those young studs, they're going to compete. The Rams have a lot of firepower, and they're going to be home, and that they could get a big crowd going over there too.
We'll see,
so.
this is
They
McVay's
could in the
second shot in
Coliseum.
the playoffs. Yeah.
I'll go with the boys though. I'm gonna unfortunately go against McVay and Goff, bastard. But
Yeah.
with that freaking goose egg, and
Yeah,
It's
that
incredible.
goose egg
The
was
amount
tough.
of goose eggs he had at the end of the season too. Just
14.
goose egg central.
He didn't have a great second half.
Nah.
Nah,
There was a
Cooper
couple
Cup was a
games
huge
there.
loss.
Cooper
Huge
Kupp,
huge
yeah.
loss for them. And
And you also see some of those questions of Goff that have arisen about how mechanically sound he is and how consistent he can be. So I think this will be a big game for him too. I mean, this is McVay's second shot in the playoffs, and they got a lot of pressure on him. So I feel like the Cowboys not playing with house money as you never are in Dallas, but this is the brunt of the scrutiny here and of
That is a
the
good
weight
point.
is
That
on
is a good point.
LA.
Dallas
Cowboys
made it,
Split house
won
money.
the division,
Yeah.
went there. Cooper paid off. This has got to be the most stress-free year for Jerry Jones right now.
Yeah, Dak was getting a lot of
And
heat, and he's performing.
If they've made it way
I mean
past
that
where
whole
they
team's
should
had
be.
just a second half renaissance. So.
They're probably loving this right
Plus,
now.
when you get that first playoff win in under
For
your
all
belt,
those kids, all 3 of them.
it's great. It takes a lot of the pressure off.
Is that his first playoff win?
Who?
Dak?
Yeah,
definitely.
they lost
They won
the
us
year
good
they
for
had the
him.
first
Yeah.
round bye.
Good for him.
They
Yeah.
just lost that one year when they had the really good year. Was that 2
That was the
years ago?
Des Bryant game. The catch that wasn't a catch.
No, that was
No,
Roma.
no, that was Roma. The
Up
Green
in
Bay.
Green Bay, Roma threw that.
Shout out
Was
to
that
you.
wrong?
Yeah, that was heavy Roma. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
I remember seeing
Roma
that
was even in
Roma
the
thing. He was
commercial.
like crying about that.
Or it was
throw.
the documentary. He's like, that was the
Yeah.
best throw of my career.
So
Yeah.
then-
His wife was like crying.
What was
or
the-
something.
what was
She, like,
the
ruined
game-
his career or something.
What
Put him up
game
in the
did
box.
Dak
He's having a
lose
good
that?
career now.
He loves the box.
Who did
Yeah.
Dak
He's
lose
a
to?
smart commentator. But he maybe a less is more for him might be a good saying. If he just pulled it back a little and didn't sound like the 5th grader going to his first NFL game.
Holy smokes! This is what a football game.
We'll be
Yeah.
right back. That's how he sent you to the commercial.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what,
Exactly,
this
brings
is what
that
I love
enthusiasm.
about football.
I'm starting to like him more. When Tony calls the game now, I'm starting to like it.
He's like so on point though. Like you could tell he knew his shit because he'll
got a
tell
good
you
brain.
what the fuck, who's blitzing, why he blitzes.
He's
Shit,
strong IQ.
Yeah, his football IQ is amazing actually. He spoils the play 90% of the time.
He's like, yeah, they're gonna. He like circle the receiver and tell you the Rowdy's gonna run, and you just like watch it happen. You're like,
Right.
God damn it.
Right again, Tony.
And I'll tell you why it's not gonna work too, because this corner's doing this. You're like, holy shit, Tony.
X Factor though, last thing I'll say for that game, X Factor could be the big money defense of the Rams that we didn't get to see for big strides of the season
Think they'll
in
show
that
up.
game. If you get Talib and Peters and you got Darnold and Sue on the inside, that could be the difference in that game for the Rams.
They can blow up a game, definitely.
They can make some plays on Zeke and stuff him. Donald stuffs him up.
Donald's incredible, man.
Yeah,
So.
it's kind of like what happened. The Chargers didn't get the touchdowns, but they kept getting the field goals. And they had when you're playing from behind and you don't have a great passing quarterback, you get exposed a little bit. If like they could put up some points on the board, stuff Zeke a little bit, Dak's gonna be forced to throw maybe from the pocket. It's gonna be a long day for Dallas.
Yeah.
You're right. That defense is the key.
Safe to say we got some awesome football coming up this weekend.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys +7 for sure.
Yeah.
We all agree on that.
Yeah, 100%.
And then so we already talked about Sunday at 1, and then maybe jumping ahead to the last game is the one, Philly in New Orleans. I think Philly's gonna take care of them. I'm
What's the
taking
spread on that
Philly
game?
8 points. I mean, no, not Philly. I think New Orleans is gonna take care of Philly. I'm taking them 8-point favorite for sure.
Yeah, the
Over under is only at 50.5 in the dome. They covered that on their own last time they played each other.
and I think that probably speaks more to the Eagles and how efficient that offense is.
How they
gonna be
want
able
to play
operate.
the game too. Yeah,
Yeah.
they want it to be in that range.
So I mean, yeah, you've seen a little up and down nature when Foles has started. Obviously, discounting the Super Bowl and the playoff run last year, but yeah, I think that speaks more to what they're going to be able to come out and do than does kind of the overall nature of the Saints and Eagles offenses added up. So it's not shocking that it's a little bit lower, but yeah, I mean, listen, the Saints are going to put up points, and it's really about who's going to be able to keep up in a marathon. And this is probably one of those games that's going to come out to like one big defensive stand at the end of a game. So I don't think it's necessarily critical that your defense plays phenomenal, but you got to be able to put up the points. We've seen it from Foles. Would I be shocked if it's close? No, but I do think this is a statement game for the Saints. This is their year.
They gotta get it rolling.
Super
And then
Bowl
they'll meet up
aspirations.
with the winner of Dallas or Rams, and that'll be a big game. I think that's the way it has to play out.
Agreed. You got to take care of business here and make a statement.
Because it's running through New Orleans too. They need another home game. This
Right.
can't be it.
And it's hard to go down there in the playoffs and when you've seen it
I
happen.
mean, we
a couple
were all
times,
calling for Rams, Saints, Patriots, Chiefs way back, and I think we're gonna get it.
Yeah.
I could see Dallas knocking off LA. That's all in one. That's actually the KC. Both the Saturday games, I wouldn't be surprised if any winners down here. Shit. I'm lying. Chargers. The only game that you'd be shocked would be if Philly comes out with a win. Really, that'd be the only shocker, I think. And that even
Agreed.
there would be like, oh well, it happened again.
There it is.
Yeah.
You're leading the
And-
charge.
and
Better watch out.
that's the other thing,
Dallas
too.
or Rams.
The storyline
If they
just
get
keep
through
getting
this
better and
game,
better.
if they get through this game, they're gonna. I'll almost take them over the other two because they move on again.
You're betting
they're gonna be
against God at that
scared.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you beat Drew Brees and
He
his
goes.
Saints team,
They're
now.
gonna be riding fucking maybe too high. I don't know.
And not
Sometimes
that they
come off a
need to
huge
prove
win,
anything, but this is
They're playing with house money again too.
Sure are.
100%.
They've been playing
It's fun
with
to play with
money
house
for
money.
a long
It's
time.
fun to play with house
Since
money.
Wentz went down last year, they've been playing with this shit. Well,
Yep.
it's 3,
In the
4, 5,
Coliseum, where it
6.
happened, right? I mean,
It's got to have an effect. It's got to be a good feeling knowing you can go out there and kind of roll with any result. So when
Is
you're playing
anyone
loose and free.
taking the Eagles +8?
No. Nope.
plus 8, so the Saints have to win by 8 or more, right?
Saints,
Yeah,
yeah.
more.
Yeah.
No, I think this is.
It's a good line. That's 1 point over a score. I mean,
The morale guy in me
so-
wants to take the any given Sunday
You
approach,
want to
but
see it, and I
Take
think.
Saints, take the Saints.
Yeah.
I want to see them just steamrolling. I mean, there's a difference between what I want and what I think is going to happen, but I actually do think that they'll be able to cover. But hey, I've been getting shocked every week by these games.
Yeah, and I mean nothing's gonna drop your jaw on the floor, but I'd say.
I mean, I was a little
that would be the biggest
disappointed
upset.
in the Chargers not being able to get in the fucking end zone. it was getting a little old for me.
Yeah.
I wanted to see them like.
I mean,
put up
listen,
some
I mean,
points.
that's the other thing too. I mean,
Ravens
discount Baltimore D was playing out of their minds, and they showed up. They did a great
really
job of
did.
containing. It was
If
just
they had any sort of offense on their end, they would have won that game for sure.
100%. And
For the first
that
three
that's how
quarters.
they went on that Super Bowl run in 2014.
Yeah.
Great defense. Flacco just don't turn the ball over, throw some deep shots,
Yeah.
make connect, and that was kind of the formula. So
Yeah, he can. Flacco had 11 TDs, no picks in that run.
yeah, no picks. It was incredible.
He's got to feel.
That's
a
what
little
got him
bit-
that mega
little bit
contract.
shafted, right?
100%.
I'd be feeling so shafted if I got that for my team and they didn't give me another chance.
I agree, man. If I was a Ravens fan and they were booing because Lamar was trash, I would have liked to put Flacco in, man. I get this kid came in and he played great, but it was just like it was a
Even
quick
if it's
change
his
of the
last
guard. It was a quick
game.
change of the guard. Like, this is a guy. This was your money guy. You paid him millions and millions and millions of
Yeah.
dollars because he went on that miracle run for you. He
Yeah.
did it once. You get in the playoffs maybe only the second time since that's happened, and you don't let the guy sniff the field when you have 3 points by the third quarter. I mean, I was surprised by it.
It was surprising.
Yeah, I mean,
Lamar could shut us up slightly because he had a good fourth quarter.
guess not really.
If he didn't have a good
I mean,
fourth
he had a
quarter,
good fourth quarter because the numbers are there
Yeah,
and the
if he,
defense is backing
if
off.
he didn't have a good fourth quarter, there would be no argument.
Listen, Super Bowl MVP sitting on the bench. I mean, the kid's not so fragile. He's going to die if you take him out of the game and put in an MVP that's been there for
It would
10
have been
years.
Flacco's last game if
You
they
know?
didn't come back and win anyway. At least
Right.
let him go out like with
Right.
like some
Right, you
respect.
can spin that both ways. So, and then if they do come back and win, then, listen, you got to put the team first, advancing first. So, see what happened, but you can disagree and evaluate and say.
It'd be fun to
who's wrong.
revisit this next week and see the teams that are remaining. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where we're
This
at.
is
now.
great. A lot of great storylines. It's not often you get this deep, and especially beyond next weekend, where you could genuinely point to every matchup and kind of marvel at how cool it's going to play out. And that exists with virtually every team this year. I mean, even if the Eagles upset the Saints, you got the magic of Nick Foles. Of course, you got the Patriots. Philip Rivers going on his first extended run, first ring. I mean, it's just kind of endless possibilities.
Yeah, every team has a little bit of story behind it, for sure.
Right, and that's not always the case.
No,
Sometimes
it's
you get
not.
those blah matchups.
Yeah, some teams you don't even care about.
Right.
Like when the Seahawks were in the Super Bowl that one year against the Steelers a long time ago. Like
bring back-
Hasselback and
Yeah.
like
Kind of
Sean
those throwaway
Alexander
Super
was
Bowls.
cool.
You think of like the Bucks in the Super Bowl.
Just like teams that you don't even have any interest in.
Yeah, it's kind of bland and blasé storylines.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah. All right. Listen, that's some solid recap. What did you think of the college football playoff yesterday?
That was pretty interesting. I didn't know that Lawrence guy slung it that freaking nice. And
Yeah.
that receiver too. Catching them balls with one hand. That
Yeah.
second one he had.
Incredible.
oh my
Yeah, that
God.
was pretty dirt nasty.
Dude, Clemson always has sick receivers.
Clemson-
Watkins and Hopkins
Yeah.
and everyone that comes out of there. It's insane. CJ Spiller was nasty in college.
It was incredible. Yeah.
But Bama, I'm not so sold on Tua anymore. I need to see more. I don't know if it was the injuries. You think he's a consensus number one overall pick still?
Probably
Okay.
next. Yeah, I mean next year. I don't know. I mean, listen, you're
Tua?
so far
You
out.
watch the game? No.
But yeah, Tua was I did not
He's-
live up to
yeah.
kind of the hype you've been accustomed to, and the kid on the other end, Lawrence is. I mean, we heard
He's a real
whispers
deal,
leading up to
dude.
this game. People are so high on this kid. They're calling him the next Luck. I mean, I heard references to Peyton Manning,
He
so
looked good, man.
he did
Some of the
nothing to
throws,
discredit that.
He had that height, and he was putting the ball right over the top over the corners' heads and stuff. It
Yeah.
was pretty impressive.
6'5" as a freshman. I mean, the kid's got a rocket. I think he broke Deshaun Watson's high school record for touchdown passes. He started all 4 years in high school as a freshman too, so
This kid's
pretty
a
incredible. Yeah, he was like the number one recruit out of high school. So
Is it Sunshine
kid.
guy?
Yeah,
Sunshine, yeah, and he's not draft eligible for 2 more years. So
He's nasty.
Really? Why? Because of his age?
yeah, he's a
He's
true
only
freshman.
19.
So you have to play 3 years before you go in the NFL.
He's just
Interesting.
trash,
It's gonna be
man.
2 years
I
of
didn't know that.
suck for Lawrence. chatter going on because people. I mean, you're reading everything today. Scouts are saying
They
he'd
take
be the
him right
number one
now.
pick in the draft
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah, no, he looks like a real deal quarterback for sure, 100%. He looks like Nick Foles.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's got the size of him, right?
Yeah, just going off the way he was playing. Dude, some of the throws Foles was making were just ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, that size gives you a huge advantage.
Just
So.
going to the side right here with the arm, like the throw he made, the last throw of the game, the
Yeah.
fourth down throw. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
He's got a little bit of that Patty
happened.
Mahomes,
Shouldn't have
sidearm
happened.
slingshot.
It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
Some of the
great.
refs were terrible all week in football. It was getting a little wacky, but
Become a consistent storyline. So that is that's concerning.
whatever that weird play with the fumble was interesting.
Which fumble?
With the Bears game, the Eagles, and no one retrieved the.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? But I guess they got it right with the rule book.
Yeah, that's one of those that like no one on the field knows what the hell's going on until they got to go back and call New York and kind of understand the exact reading of the rules. But there's a lot of that going on, man. There's a lot of you heard a lot of people too bringing up the icing the kicker. If that's something that needs to be evaluated after the season. The onside kick rules, which have just completely dismantled the ability to retrieve an onside
That
kick.
sucked. Yeah.
Yeah,
that
no, no.
And you're just taking a lot of
there's no
drama at the end of
chance.
these games.
What was up with the onside kick that the Seahawks? The Seahawks is because the kicker was hurt. It's like you still can't try and do it just because you're a punter. You can't try and bounce it on the ground. You just punted the onside kick 40 yards.
You just kick the.
It's just like and the guy just
I
like
think that was just like we don't have the horses to do this.
Right.
We're not gonna win the Super Bowl.
Right.
that's kind of what the kick looked like. He punted it like
Just
30
take
yards.
it. We're done.
It wasn't even. I guess he was trying to do like a 10-yard punt, just had too much leg.
When was the last time the guy did a 10-yard punt? So this is not something you practiced in. You get on the big stage,
I didn't know you were allowed to just start punting on kickoffs.
I mean,
No one's ever really just started doing
I don't
that.
know. These kickers are like dropping the ball on the floor.
Oh, he did the drop.
He did
punts.
the four
Yeah,
drops.
he did
Yeah.
fluty
You had no
shit.
idea what was going on. That was some fluty
And then
shit.
Justin Tucker, this guy's amazing, and then he misses a field goal in the game, and then he's like the worst onside kicker apparently of all time,
Right.
aside from the Seahawks guy. What the hell's going on with these onside kicks? But are you really gonna spend a lot of time practicing that? It's an injury type play.
Well, they can't even get it now because you can't start running until the ball's kicked. So there's no way you can even
You
pull it
really
off.
You can't
You
even,
really
like,
need
you
someone
can't
to
even
box it.
angle yourself.
Well, that should happen this
towards the ball.
weekend. Like there's another storyline like the double doink. You get somebody going out there, Gronk, muffing a
It could happen.
onside
Yeah,
kick.
you just
and-
drop it when it comes
Yeah,
to you.
and listen, you want it. You want more of it, just to add some excitement to
Yeah,
these games.
so
Because
it's
now
fun.
you're pretty much nullifying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we
It's
can't
like-
get the ball back. It's
Right.
like we're it's tough.
You don't want that.
I'd like to see what happened though in this playoff run.
There's gonna be more opportunities.
There will be. Everyone's gonna
I'd
go
be
for it.
surprised if one converts. Really.
Season's on the line.
I think it's at 8% for the season, down to 20% last year before the rule changes.
Interesting.
That's a big,
Kind of like
huge
when they
drop
moved the
off.
kicks back for the extra points.
Yeah.
They used to be automatics, and now
Right.
now it's costing people their jobs.
Right.
You
It's
know?
it's a rule that has a bigger effect on the game than you think. So
Yeah.
you see it play out. But
What were we talking about? The college game? We kind of got sidetracked there. What was I gonna say about it that was surprising to me? Oh, the Clemson defense is nasty. Like they kept
defense, yeah,
getting
is-
those fourth down stops. Because
Yeah.
Bama was still getting yards, but like once they got behind, they had to go for it on fourth down, and they just couldn't get
Couldn't
it done.
convert.
It was not their
couldn't
night.
convert. They're bigger, physical on the D
Yeah.
line. And
Tua was
Alabama
getting
just got
tackled, like
Tua was getting
running. It was
demolished.
just-
Their O line
Dude,
couldn't
those
hold
guys
up.
were studs. They kept showing that one guy. I think he was like number 42 or something on Clemson. Up the
Mhm.
middle, he was nasty.
Yeah.
He's like a 4-year senior.
Yeah, they had a lot of four-year seniors on
Yeah,
the team.
those guys
So,
could really hit.
a lot of experience playing together. They wanted it.
You thought
that
that's what Bama was all about? Like
complete
the big
overpower.
baby, the Colin Murray.
Yeah,
That guy is actually pretty good.
he's probably
He
going to
was
go
making
top five.
some nasty plays, but
Yeah,
he
he
looks
was.
like a huge infant. It's insane.
Yeah, it's a.
With the braces too. He has
does.
like no. He's just got a pudgy face. It's ridiculous.
he's rocking those braces.
He's only been driving for like 2
Lad
years.
Brad. That's incredible.
That guy
Lawrence-
doesn't even
Trevor
drive.
Lawrence just turned 19. And the kid was 18.
Kid
And,
never drove a
months
day
ago.
in his life.
Got a mark.
Yeah, so cool to see some future pros. I mean, that's the first time you could remember quarterbacks being touted this early. With that much potential, so.
A lot of,
Cool to see
lot
that
of
play out.
football talk.
And Dwayne Haskins too.
You got Dwayne
Brad, I don't know if
Haskins.
you saw this, but coming in, he just tweeted out a photo of him photoshopped in Giants the giant jersey and giant helmet. So
Oh jeez,
the
this is the New
recruiting
York
tour has
media
already
needs.
started.
Yeah,
This is it's gonna be
Yeah,
a
it's a trade.
storyline leading up.
He wants them to trade up. That's why he put that up there. He's make more money at one
That's
spot.
right, yeah.
And
that's
Dave,
smart
let's
economics.
in Dave we trust. Let's see what he does.
Yeah.
A lot to talk about.
Right. There's a lot of evaluation,
I
but
don't know.
I'll see. And you actually wonder if these quarterbacks that'll be coming up next year and the year after that, if that has an effect on the Giants maybe electing to purposely not go the route of the
Or they have
quarterback.
to do tank again though.
Right. If
Tank
you
or
could allow them to
trade
pick
up,
some
like,
more
super
O-line
heavy.
players.
Right, or use the pick this year on pass rusher or your O line.
Eli still got gas in the tank, man.
I would wait.
Second
and
half of
you
the
could get
season, man, they were putting up points.
Either
So.
Tua next year if you could find a spot, or then Lawrence the year after that.
Okay, I mean, if you're gonna put all your eggs in one basket to trade up, I mean, Dwayne Haskins. Let's be honest, no one heard of him
Yeah.
other than avid
He
Ohio
had a
State
good
fans until
year.
midway through the season, and then no one's
He's
really
from
familiar
Highland
with
Park.
the scouting. He is, yeah, he's from
That's
Jersey.
so random.
From
Man.
where?
I think Highland Park.
The Owls?
No, he didn't play at Highland Park. I
And
guess he
moved
did
to
like
Maryland,
private
right?
From
school.
Highland
He
He
Park?
grew up in Highland Park, New Jersey, which
Wow.
is literally right
Jersey losing all its recruits,
behind us, right over there.
but
Oh,
yeah,
he wasn't going to Rutgers.
no.
Fucking-
But-
we had Benchkowski or whatever the fuck his name was.
Sikowski,
Sikowski.
Pikowski,
He's the most picks
He got
in like
benched at the end of the
FBS
year, too.
history, like 20 in the first game.
horrendous. Yeah, it was brutal. But yeah, we'll see. The draft drama will surely bubble up as we get closer.
Should we wrap up with some Yankees talk or
Yeah,
some
we're
baseball
talking
talk?
Yankees. Yankees signed Zach Britton, a 4-year deal. Interesting though,
That's interesting.
it's kind of the blueprint for what deals might look like. So it's a 2-year deal, but then the team can opt into the last 2 years, or they can decline that, and the player can opt into the 3rd year, and they could both walk away without having to do the 4th year. So it's like a kind of a creative, inventive
Whoa.
new deal.
Whoa.
So a lot of people think that might be the route that Harper and Machado choose.
Double opt-in.
Coming up, yeah, right, with like a
situation.
double opt-in for the player and for the team. Maybe even an opt-out as soon as like 2 or 3 years into the
Once
deal.
they
So-
decide on that 3rd year, is it though? That's it.
Yeah, so the 2 years guaranteed no matter what,
Mhm.
and then the team can choose to like lock in the last 2 years, or decline it and have him opt into the 3rd year or not. So it's a creative deal. Zach Britton's a great lefty out of the bullpen, and the Yankees.
Is he
are gonna-
though?
Well, listen, I think
He was sketchy.
understandably
Yeah.
sketchy last year, and I
Yeah.
think definitely not. Didn't do enough to probably earn being totally comfortable
No.
in a big spot in the postseason. But I think their logic is coming back from a big Achilles injury.
Mhm.
He gets a lot of ground balls, lefty. So I think they're thinking another year removed, healthier. It's another pretty elite arm in the bullpen.
I trust it. Especially
Again, I agree that
the Houdini's gone, right?
Houdini's gone. He's with the Phillies. He decided to represent himself as an agent.
No, I liked Houdini. Definitely a good Yankee. Might have been a good time to let him go though.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can't keep everyone, and I
Yeah.
think sometimes there's just casualties.
I
in
think
the
we got
business.
a lot more upside with Britton. Maybe he's
younger.
very proven to be a stud too.
And he's had stud years. So
Yeah,
as a lefty,
we got Chapman still.
Betances.
Betances solidified himself as he embraced that 8th inning, and now he's like the best 8th inning guy.
Yeah, man, he's wicked. He's got some wicked.
They didn't want Andrew Miller. They couldn't get him instead of Britton.
I think it just came down to price.
Yeah.
Um,
I was a big Miller guy when he was a Yankee,
Miller's,
Yeah, I like
Miller's
Andrew
awesome.
Miller.
but
He was intimidating up on the
I'll
mound.
give
that
Britton
tall
a
guy.
Huge,
Yeah,
huge tall lefty. So.
Yeah.
he seemed to show a little bit of cracks in the armor though over the last few years.
Yeah, and last year, I mean, he had a down year.
Yeah,
so I think
I'm not.
kind of trending downward.
He might be trending downward. So
Yeah.
Britton kind of was a little too.
Yeah, and it's a bet.
I'll take Britton.
You want to ensure that's the injury, but.
You gotta trust Cashman, man. He knows his shit.
And I think this is a good deal because if he turns out to not be great or effective, they can opt out. And
It seems like a cool deal,
it,
especially with his age. It's only 2 to 4 years.
he's I think he's 30 or 31, so
What
still
ab-
got some prime years left out.
What about Machado and Harper? Where are we at on that?
Yeah, nowhere. Kind of
Just
left in the same
probably
situation
nothing.
we were before the end of the year. So I mean,
Wow, I'm
Machado.
surprised that hasn't developed yet. Remember when it was like Thanksgiving, or was
Yeah.
that when we were saying we might get it, or was it
Mhm.
Christmas?
We were
We went past
from
all.
Thanksgiving looking towards Christmas, and
Yeah.
now you're Which,
when does he have to sign by?
Well, I mean, technically these guys can go into the throughout spring training and not sign. So I mean, we've seen late deals before, but Harper no closer to a team. I think he's meeting with the Phillies next week, and Machado is probably waiting for another team to get involved so he could have some leverage.
The weird thing with Harper, it's like the Phillies are the one team that are willing to give him what he wants. He does. You could tell he doesn't want to be a Philly.
Yeah, which is actually kind of surprising. I mean, I get maybe like the Philly stigma, but it's a cool city. They got a bandbox stadium. I mean, if they're willing to throw in all this money, it's Northeast, which I feel like Machado and Harper are looking to stay in.
Yeah.
So there's some familiarity there, and I mean, it's a good city to go to and become a legend if you can win. So, personal preference, but yeah, it's kind of wait and see mode. This is the hard part of the offseason, you try to tangle free agents, but cards are in their hands, and I think Yankees genuinely have no clue what's going on. I don't know if there's been any offers made. I mean, they're very hush-hush. So it is kind of just tick-tock until we hear something.
I feel like we were all on our toes with Machado. Everyone thought it was going to happen. It just didn't happen.
I think we thought it was a lot sooner. And our boy Hubs seems like he's depressed knowing that each day goes by that they don't sign him.
He's all in on Machado.
Might mean that he might not be a Yankee. So I think the Yankees are looking at it too, and I don't know if they're fully committed on him to spend $250
I don't think they should be, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
you got Andujar right there for free,
right?
Compared to Machado. I feel is the only reason why this might happen is because of the Didi injury. So we're just basing it off of like half a year, a little bit more than half a year. It might not be worth it. He'll be kind of upset if he's doing decent at short. Didi comes back and immediately he has to get moved to third.
Right.
Because Didi's only playing short. Didi's not a guy we're gonna go
100%.
slap at third or something, or as everyone would say, first base for anyone who plays baseball now.
Yeah, it's just
so that's not gonna happen. So you're gonna just tell Machado after what if he's doing like all-star quality at short?
Right.
Oh, you're going to third. He's gonna start bitching.
Yeah, agreed. They would never do that. So I mean, I think they know that conundrum could exist. Andujar probably ultimately the odd man out if they get.
And then Andujar's gone basically. You can't just say he's a first baseman like they did. Like it's just so simple. Yeah. He's having problems at third. That's his position. You go throw him at first, but it's just like starts whiffing on balls thrown at him.
You just saw Moneyball, right? I mean, there's that scene where they're trying to sign Atterberg, and he's like, "Oh, his first base isn't hard. You could learn it." And Ron Washington's like, "It's incredibly hard." I mean, it's. I don't know where this notion of first base.
And they were probably trying to do what they were saying they could do with Andujar because he's a better hitter, just put him at first. But, I mean, do we really want to do what they did in Moneyball? Right. We have a lot more money to spend than they do.
Agreed.
And also, they didn't win anything.
Right.
As cool as Moneyball was, they never won a World Series.
Right.
I mean, we were one game from the World Series, basically just about as far as they went.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
So I'm not trying to. I like a good first baseman. I feel like your team is so good.
Goldschmidt was the opportunity to get that.
Yeah, like someone that could really hit. That would have been such a good signing for the Yankees. Like Locke, no one ever talked about that. They're just like Bird. He's not the answer to go. We could futz around over there. I mean, Voit went off last year, but you can't trust that for a full sample size. It smells more like a Shane Spencer type ordeal to me.
Agreed.
Like if you would have put Goldschmidt over there, it would have been incredible.
It would have been.
Don't even bother Machado. Just hold down short. Shortstop's a position where like you can just get, as long as you have someone that can play good defense. We could have just got a defensive guy that you get like decent bat in like low 200s. It would have been more than enough to hold the fort for Didi.
Yeah, I mean, and that still might be the plan.
Yeah, it might be the plan.
Kind of,
too low is just kind of like a too
low. Yeah. I mean, Tulo, if they don't get Machado, probably going to be your shortstop.
Most likely. I mean, if they can get him healthy and ready, he should be.
So he should be able to provide.
How old is he? He's got to be old, right?
Tulo's 32, 33, maybe a little older than that.
I mean, that's not bad. If he's motivated to play this year and he's healthy, that could be huge.
Yeah, I think that was a good signing. So you get a fallback. They got him for literally nothing, $500,000, which in baseball is nothing. So. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's gonna come here. The shoe's gonna drop, and we'll do our input on that episode once it happens. But one way or another, it's a big deal. If the Yankees aren't signing him, they're going with the homegrown approach, and that's exciting. You feel like late '90s, kind of love your own stars.
Hey, let them build a little bit. Let them brew. Let them
Or
take the L from last year.
and agreed. And I think that's a solid method. Or you think the other way you can look at it is you sign a superstar who's 26, about to hit his prime, and you mesh that with your already young core. Maybe Anhar's out. Maybe he assimilates to first.
Yeah,
Maybe you find a
the
perfect
pros
storm.
are pretty nice too. You're right.
So it's sexy either way. I
Andujar's
feel like.
gone. You bring in one of the best players in the league. It's not gonna hurt us
Yeah.
at all.
I mean, that's the other thing. Machado is young, man. He's
Machado's
335
really
home
good.
runs, 100 RBIs. At
There was
third
really
base, he's incredible.
yeah.
So
There's no dirt on him until he went to the Dodgers either.
and he deserved all that. And
Yeah,
brought it
he
on
did.
himself, you know?
He was like he didn't have any rap in Baltimore, but it is Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, he's maybe a little immature, but he's a kid, young, and I mean, there were situations where he would have an attitude, but he was 22, 23, like it happens. You get a coach at you, you know. Maybe not though. I don't know. We'll see.
It's gonna be interesting. I feel like Machado's not gonna be Yankee as much as I'd like him to be. It doesn't seem like it's working out.
No, and then if that doesn't happen, do they then go after Harper?
I meant Harper. He's
Oh,
not gonna
Harper,
be-
yeah.
He's not gonna be
Yeah.
Yankee.
I mean, I would love to see it. I don't think so. But I think if Machado goes
Machado
somewhere else,
seems
maybe
more
that
fun.
makes that possibility more
that would be
likely.
cool. That would be really cool.
That could be one of those kind of
They could-
franchise-altering
They could
situations.
fit him in there.
100%. And they can afford him. So, yeah, I think,
Gardner would have to be the odd man out. He'd probably not play at all.
no, but he's probably accepted that at this point in his career. Signed him for a one-year deal. I think he knows. Got his money. He's kind of there to be
I mean, you would have to
situational.
leave Giancarlo as like a strict DH too.
Or just have a very maneuverable lineup.
Yeah, because
Switching
Harper
outfield
could DH a
positions
little
and-
bit too.
Yeah.
He's
And
not
then
like a
get rid
lot
of
to have
Hicks.
to have in the field. He's not
Yeah.
that kind of fielder.
Hicks is a free agent at the end of
Judge,
the year.
you don't
so-
want DH in that too much if he's healthy because he's a really good right fielder.
Yeah, he's incredible. Right.
Hicks is a good center fielder too. You
Yeah,
basically
so-
be platooning around in left field mostly. I mean, Judge would get a few days off, and Hicks too, because Harper could play a little center.
Right.
That would be unbelievable.
It's a good.
If you
problem
had
to
a
have.
game with Stanton, Harper. Well, the outfield, I'm saying, if you had Hicks in center and Harper and Judge in the corners, and then Stanton still in there as DH, that'd be nasty.
Gleyber Torres.
I mean, you
developing.
could get rid of Hicks realistically too,
Right.
if you're talking Harper.
Right.
But I'd like them to keep him.
He's
a
a
good
good player,
fielder.
man.
Yeah.
It's a good problem, man. The Yankees have done a great job of building up, gearing up for this run. So
We're gonna get some.
this is a 5 to 7 year window of really good baseball, no matter what happens here in the next couple of days. And I think it's probably going to come the next week or so. So we'll see. Hopefully by next week.
They're gonna
might have an
compete
answer.
year in year out. It's gonna be a big disappointment if they can't get. At least they need one ring. Two
Yeah,
would even be
the
a
window
must.
is open
If
this
like
year.
Judge, they
is-
can't get some Harper for Judge. It's gonna be kind of sad.
Yeah,
That's
just
the
like a
scary part.
must.
Is that pressure is just in everyone's mind.
Yeah, like if Judge needs rings. He's that kind of player. Like
Oh yeah, he's got to win.
you don't want him to be one of those studs that never won.
Dude,
Yeah.
God, no.
Everyone
So I
hates
think-
those kind of players.
this is why you
I
also
just
got to be
feel
aggressive
bad
too.
for 'em.
Sometimes great players there. Maybe it's the extra driving motivation to get them.
And it's scary because all those sick players on the Boston got the monkey off their back. They
Right.
got rings now too.
Now,
It's scary. I
now
don't even
he's-
want to see Mookie batting with a ring on his
I forgot they
finger.
won.
Holy shit!
Incredible. Yeah, Mookie Betts is a
He is
fantastic player.
freaking
So
scary.
dude was incredible runaway MVP last year, and
He was called in the World Series, but of course in the last game when they won, he had a couple hits,
Right.
so it all went.
Yeah.
It all ended perfectly for him.
yeah, that was. And to be honest, they didn't need much.
Yeah.
Out of
None of
they
it, did it?
dominated from 1 through 9, so it was. It's
This is
it's
the
a back
Yankees'
being
year.
on, so
This is the year. They got the starters. They made some nice low-key signings. They need to win this year.
agreed.
Just one more piece. We'll see if they get it.
This is the year, and this is the year. It's a disappointment if they can't get over the hump.
They gotta win the division too.
100%.
And they gotta make the Red Sox go into the wild card game. Maybe they lose.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
That is, you gotta win your division. Priority number 1, and then just the chips fall where they may in the postseason.
For sure.
But yeah, I think that is solid coverage for the first week back.
Yeah,
So-
man. 2019. Year of the podcast.
You're the pod. That's
All right.
nice. I like that. All right, guys. See you next week.